Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes soloing the Stalker. We're level 33 with our character, partway through the level, and we are currently on a mission to find Edgar Torvald, which is a new story arc. I'm blanking on the name. Uh, I took it because I didn't want it to vanish, and earlier today, and now I don't remember the name of the story arc. We'll figure it out when we finish this mission, but it's another story arc for Peter Stevitz. Whichever one he gives is the one we're on, and we're heading for Talos Island. And as we do, want to talk about two things: interactions and permahaste. Both of these have come up in recent comments, and so I just wanted to mention it. So one of my viewers, I didn't write the name down, I'm sorry. Let me look. Sorry, let me just check. It was Matthew Pena, I guess, who's been giving me some really good comments in talking about builds and stuff like that. Made a really excellent point that the build guides and the build programs don't cover interactions between, power 1 and power 2. And so it may be that this power is really good on paper, but the way it interacts with another power might make it not be as good. And you may not see that until you actually play the character, which is what I was saying in an earlier episode when I was talking about how sometimes you have to see how the character plays to know what you need to do with it. For example, with this character, we have identified two things that are an issue for her. One is runners. They're incredibly annoying, and I currently have no really good techniques other than the Nemesis staff, which is not a good technique, for dealing with them. And at some point, I'm going to need to figure that out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, and I might try a few different things to see if they work, like Touch of Fear. But right now, we do not have a great way of handling runners. And that is probably the most annoying thing so far. The other annoyance, these are all, by the way, just annoyances. They're not making the character not be viable or anything like that. The other annoyance, the other thing that I struggle with is miss streaks, right? And especially enemies who not debuff my 2-hit, because I can kind of deal with that by dodging it, but throw up a force field or something, or put some buff on themselves that makes them nigh unhittable. And what do I do about that? And that's going to require me to either find a way to shut that toggle down or prevent them from starting it, or for me to have a way to really increase my 2-hit so that I have a higher probability of hitting these guys. Instead of 40%, I have 70% or something like that, which may mean getting focused accuracy and making sure we run it. It might mean doing a lot more build-up, even putting 2 hit buffs on build-up. It might mean putting more accuracy enhancers on our powers rather than damage or something like that, right? Because I'd rather hit and have to hit 5 times than miss 4 times and hit once and one-shot them, because I hate to miss, right? That's just me. So these are things about the playstyle and the way the character plays that you would not necessarily get from stats, right? All the stats are going to tell you is that I have a 95% chance to hit there, right? What you're not going to see is all the miss streaks that can happen even when you have a fairly high chance to hit, right? The stats aren't going to tell you if, like, if your character will be more annoying against +2s, and that's the level you want to fight, right? There's no way to know that from a build guide. And so there is a sense, and I agree with this, that you kind of have to play the character to see how the interactions work, to see how power 1 and power 2 go together, right? This power set of dark and this power set of energy go together in a different way than dark and regen would. Doesn't make them better or worse, but it's just going to be different. It'll play differently. And so you can't just look at the dark melee and say, I want to do this, because what it does also synergizes or doesn't synergize with your secondary, right? And depending on that, you may have to make different decisions in your primary, right? And so for example, we have this toggle that called Disrupt that will disorient foes, and it's possible that if we enhanced it properly and we made it, hit all the time and recharge and low endurance and all that stuff and high disorient duration and really enhanced it, we wouldn't need Touch of Fear at all because the disorient would work better. On the other hand, you might not have this power set. Then you don't have the disorient power at all, and you can't use it. And now maybe you do need Touch of Fear. And so a lot of this depends on kind of how your power sets work together. It depends on what kind of missions you want to run. Are you doing the Architect? Are you doing story arcs? Are you doing tips? Are you doing street hunting? Are you going up against purples and oranges and reds? Are you going up against yellows and whites? You know, as I think it was the same person pointed out, that it could depend on archetypes and everything. And I think Matthew Pena again said, if I'm fighting an elite boss on my Dominator and I don't land the hold, I'm dead. On the other hand, with a Brute, if I miss my big attack, yeah, I can just stand in there and take it. Right? This character. Okay, we miss our built-up Assassin Strike, we can still survive. But with a Dominator, if you're not under domination putting a hold on that elite boss, you're probably going to die. And you saw my Dominator have that happen to him a couple of times. Right? Okay, so now let me think here. What's the priority here? Okay, this is... Okay, so I thought this was a minion. So we're looking here. We've got two guys, two red lieutenants with orange minions. They might both aggro to me when I do this. So who's the priority? I think the very clear KOS, kill on sight priority, is this guy. This guy does have some abilities. He can throw on invincibility and make it so that I whiff him a lot, right? But he can't do anything to me relative to these other characters, and I can ignore him if I have to, right? This guy can debuff me so that I can't hit anybody. So he's the priority. And I'm actually going to throw a little bit of a yellow on here. Make sure we do build up and hope we don't roll a 95 here. Look at this! 99.84. That is the third Assassin Strike I've missed since walking into this mission. All of them at 95%. So annoying. Right? But now we have to contend with this... we have to contend with this debuff where I'm missing everything under the sun because I'm down to 36% to hit. So now I'm going to have to use every inspiration I have just to survive because of the way this guy is debuffing me. And that is all because the game cheated and gave me yet another miss on a 95% chance to hit. So frustrating. Could have also used the panic power there, I guess. I'm still not used to having it there. Gosh. Just a couple lieutenants and minions. And that's all because I missed the built-up Assassin Strike. If I'd hit with it, that guy would have gone down in a couple more swings and it would have been over. Guess I could have placated him there too. There were only 4 of them. Alright. Notice though, build-up will start recovering much faster now because... Oh, we completed the mission. We have it on double recharge, and we're going to put it on triple recharge in the next level. Let's see if we can get our built-up Assassin Strike to work here. See, before he gets a chance to get the debuff out, he's gone. Now that guy was orange. The red would have taken a little longer, but we still would have gotten him pretty quickly. So now we're going to just have to wait and let our inspiration trait build back up. Okay, so now I can figure out which story arc we're on. This is, sorry, it's Library of the Lost Souls. Yeah, Circle of Thorn, Orn Bega, yes, Library of the Lost Souls, yeah. I do actually like this story arc. But, where are we, Talos Island? We're over here. This is going to be such a pain to do without these. Alright, let's try it. It's alright. If we faceplant, we'll just get more inspirations at the hospital. I don't want to super jump all the way back. I probably would if I was not filming, but since you guys are watching, I don't want to super jump all the way back to the island just to get inspiration. So we'll try, see how we do. Hopefully we'll pick a couple up before we have to fight anything serious. And now we need to find 3 crystals. We have to fight something serious right away. Same situation, just one level lower. Now the question is, are we going to get the build-up to work? If we're not, I'm going to go wander around and come back. If this doesn't work. Okay, we got it. And that takes care of him. And it didn't aggro the other guys either. Now we can go back under hide. And assassin strike this guy. And we got an accuracy inspiration from the drop, so that's helping. That'll be useful in our like if we have to fight another red con there. And there we go. Okay, so we're looking for 3 crystals. So this Library of Lost Souls is where the circle have been capturing the souls of other magic users and heroes and stuff, and they're using them to power these crystals and gain power. What do evil magic users want to do? Get powerful. We got another accuracy inspiration, so that's good, and a third. Okay, we're good. Much better. I know there's another guy back there, but we're going to wait because I want to go under build up to him, and it hasn't recharged yet. So we'll wait on that and come back to him. We might not need to come back to him, but I'm not going after those guys without build-up. It's just too annoying. Now that's a minion, not as dangerous, but we're still going to get the minion first. We could probably do this without build-up though. Yeah, they don't debuff you anywhere near as much. Now these guys we're going to placate. And then build up assassinate. Did that not do the full assassination to him? Or is he immune to me? I feel like it didn't do the full assassin strike. That's happened to me a couple times under placate. Like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, it seems like. Oh man, okay, we're gonna have to wait for the build up for this. Let's go upstairs. This teleports us up, I think. See what's going on up here. Anything interesting? Another lieutenant up there, boy. Alright, well, we got build up. We'll take this guy out. The nice thing about Stalkers is, you know, these guys are positioned, like the guys are positioned in front of the portals. The guys who are positioned under the portals, that's going to stop you from using the portal unless you fight them, right? Except for Stalkers, who, because we're under hide, we can fight them, we can go through the portal without having to fight anybody, which is quite nice. So here's the first crystal. I wonder if we can get it without aggroing them. Probably not. So we'll wait 13 seconds. Pop our build up and then go after this guy. We have some accuracies in case we need it. I think I'm going to take a damage. Got him. So now that thing that he's doing, right? Chill of the Night. It does have to hit me. So I wonder how come they hit you so much with it, because I thought it was just they just laid it on you and automatically it hits you, like almost like it's a toggle and they just turn it on and you're in their radius. But it does have an accuracy, so I wonder how come it hits so much, because it should miss me like at least half the time, and it doesn't seem to. It seems like it always hits. Let's see, what was it called? Chill of the Night. Freezing Touch. Hits you with Chill of the Night, power is auto hit. I thought so. It's auto hit. It's like a taunt, right? Taunt auto hits, so does that. So even though it has an accuracy, it's auto hit. I thought so, because I've never seen it miss. I mean, I played so many defense-based characters over the years, and I've never seen that thing miss. We're just looking around here to make sure. Oh, there was another pair of guys in here, wasn't there, that I never did get to? Ah. Alright, let's go up with this thing. I'm so bad at this. Okay. Let's turn combat jump off and just do a little jump. I'm over jumping it. There we go. Alright, we have build up now, so we can take this guy out. Start using those because I don't normally keep them around. Yeah, so that thing, as I was saying, is almost equivalent to like taunt or stealth, where it just or build up, where it just automatically works. So there's no way to prevent it. It's just him. It's like the old champion's idea of like turning on a power. Once it's a character's turn, you can't prevent them from turning on a power. I don't need all that. I don't need that. Keep those free for other inspirations. Okay. Not bad. Back under hide. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about or mention was this idea of the interactions between powers and power sets, and how those things don't necessarily come out in build guides or on mids and pines and that sort of thing. So that's a really good point. The other thing I did want to talk about was perma hasten. So what I've said many times, and I was fairly sure this was true, is that way back in the day when the tankers were using hastened and recharge enhanced burn to throw down multiple burn patches and level up really fast, they nerfed the heck out of burn, and as I understood it, they also nerfed hasten. And what I thought happened, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, Pirate Princess Yuki said that they didn't think that hasten was ever actually nerfed. It was more the nerf happening to tankers, and that I guess the nerf to burn, right? That 3 invention enhancements of the right level, and even I guess maybe 3+3 green SOs can still get hasten permit. I can't check if that's true because I don't have hasten on this character, but I have no reason to doubt their word on it, right? Why lie? Anybody who has access to the power could correct you if you're wrong. And so I'm just trying to get out of the quicksand here. So what I thought happened was that when they nerfed burn, they also made hasten not so that you couldn't perma it, but so that it took all 6 slots of recharge enhancers to perma it. They forced you to commit a lot of slots to it because I think initially you could do it with 3 slots. That's what I thought happened. And that when enhancement diversification occurred, I thought one of the complaints was now we can't perma hasten, right? And that Statesman and the other devs came in and said, well, you'll be able to perma it with the right sets. So you had to go back to 6 slotting hasten, and but you had to 6 slot it with the right set. And if you had the right set and the right set bonuses from other sets, you could get your global recharge bonus up enough that with the right sets, both on hasten and on other powers, you could perma it again, right? but that you had to devote the right sets to it, and you were going to really have to devote your entire build to getting hasten permed. Right? And there were people who said, I could have sworn there was a conversation, well, when you've got your global recharge up that high from sets, kind of what do you need hasten now for? Because they're doing what hasten would have done if you just could have permitted in the first place without the sets, right? And the belief was that the developers were trying to essentially nullify the OP-ness of permahaste, right? That's my recollection. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I could have sworn that there were lots of arguments on the forums about the fact that they couldn't do permahaste, perma-elude anymore. That was a big complaint. By that I paid attention to because of the super reflex scrappers. I never tried to do perma-elude, but a lot of reflex scrappers like to do it, and a lot of them were mad. I could have sworn a lot of them were mad that that was stopped. Now, it might have been that it was more of a nerf to elude than to hasten. I don't remember that. I kind of thought it, because I think what they were doing with elude, I might be wrong, is they were doing 6 slotting hasten for recharge, 6 slotting elude, at least some for recharge, and then maybe for defense, maybe 3 and 3, or something like that, or maybe 1 and 5, I don't remember. And then they weren't taking any of their toggles because they were basically keeping this power, equivalent of this power, just constantly on. And yeah, when it faded, it would kill your endurance, but it didn't matter because elude had already stacked with itself and you'd already re-upped it. And then when the endurance dropped, elude was a click power, not a toggle, so it would keep protecting you. Same with practice brawler. Now, one of the reasons I never went with that power is because in order to make a click power so you had 3 things that had to be permed on a, let's go with this. You had 3 things that had to be permed on a, because I'm talking, you have 3 things that had to be permed on a super reflex scrapper if you didn't want to take the toggles and you wanted to keep them, you want to do the whole perma haste, perma elude thing. One was hasten. One was elude, and the other you had to keep practice brawler permed, because otherwise you'd get mezzed. And then if you were mezzed at the wrong time and elude or hasten fell and needed to be re-upped and you were mezzed, you were dead, right? So they would take the passives, they would not take the toggles as power choices. They took like boxing, tough, and weave instead of the 3 toggles to add to their defense, stacking it. And then what they would do is they would have to have all 3 powers permed. And I remember asking them, well, wait a minute, guys, how do you do this? Right? Because you can control click a power and it will automatically go off every time, right? Like this, right? It'll go off every time it lights up. It'll go off, right? But you can only do that for 1 power. You can't do it for 3 or 4 different powers. So what I said to them was, how the heck do you manage this? What do you make? What do you click? Like, what do you control click? And they said you have to control click one of them and then keep your eye on the other 2. And as soon as they recharge, you've got to click them. So I said, no, I don't want, I don't want to do that. I want to set my defenses and forget it, right? Set it and forget it for my defenses. That's what the toggles. You turn them on, you just leave them on. I said I have no interest in, and by the way, I know there are more guys here, but we're going to get the thing, and then if we have to defeat other guys, we'll come back. I said I have no interest in having to stare at my 2 click powers and make sure I click them, and if I misclick or don't click in the right order, or I make a mistake or I don't notice it, or God forbid you get slowed so that they don't come up when you expect, because in those days there was no little countdown timer. I was like, no, I'm going to get killed. Like, my character's going to keep getting face planted because I'm not going to do it right. So I just said, if that's the way you have to do this mechanic, no thank you. I'm going to put practice brawler on perma, set it and forget it, let it auto fire, and make sure it's got enough recharge enhancers on it, and I'm done. And I never did bother with perma haste or perma elude because I didn't want to have to click multiple. They're not, to me, if you have to keep clicking it manually, it's not perma, right? It's only perma if you can control click it and then you never have to touch it again, to me. That's how I feel about it. Doesn't have to be how anybody else feels about it, but that's how I feel about it. Oh, I did not time this right. This could get me killed. Let's get our toggles back. Okay. And our mess defense. Alright, yeah. I was not watching that. See, I was busy talking. So I turned that on. So let's go back. Let's rewind a little bit. And let's go back. Why did I put the panic power on? Well, I wasn't panicking. I did it from the beginning. Why? Well, because I was talking about something that required some real thought. And I figured that if I did that without the panic power on, I was going to get face planted with that boss because he's pretty tough. So I put the panic power on just to make sure that I could keep saying what I was saying and talk about what I was talking about. We got to go to Zuria. Okay, let's just use this. Whoa, wait. Okay, hold on. No, cancel. Being ambushed. I wanted to be able to have, talk about what I was talking about without having to worry about whether I was going to die, right? So that's why I did that. We didn't really need it there, but I did that so that I could continue with what I was discussing. Going to Alice Park. So anyway, I don't know if anybody else can confirm who's right about the history of Hasten. It's possible that they unnerfed it at one point. It's possible that Homecoming changed the timing. I don't really know. Because again, since I never did attempt to do permahaste, I just don't really know. I only know like sort of third hand from what I read about on the forums. I do remember a lot of whining about permahaste being stopped or being harder to do or something. And I could have sworn the first complaint was, now we have to use all 6 slots to make it perma. It used to be that you could do it with a couple of slots, and now it was 6, and they didn't like it, right? But if it's 3 now, then I don't know, right? I don't know if they changed it again or if that wasn't what they were arguing about. And since most of my exposure to perma hasten is also tied up in my exposure to the arguments and discussions around perma elude, right? It was always perma haste / perma elude. It may be that I'm getting some of the nerfing to elude and hasten confused with each other. Because again, it's been 20 years and there are the old forms are gone. There's no way to go back and check it. So I just don't know for sure. So if anybody was around and part of those arguments and actually did permahaste, perma-elude, go ahead and give me comments and correct whatever I've gotten wrong so that we get more accurate information. But apparently you can make hasten permanent now with triple slots and 3, I guess, green SOs, or at least high enough level generic IOs. Oh, speaking of that, I do want to point out I did go back and craft one of these. So all of our slots are full now, and Smite's now doing almost max damage. We just need one more slot in there. So I think next level, what we're going to do is finish Smite, get a 3rd slot and build up, which finishes it. And then I think maybe we'll put a heal on Energize. I think that's what we'll do. Just get that, make that a little bit better. Okay. So now we're going to go to Founders Falls and defeat the kidnappers. And we can't use our little teleport here anymore for 7 minutes, so we'll go to the base. Actually, we could have just gone to the elevator, right? The train station, right? That's fine. So we'll go to the base and go to Founders Falls. Okay. So yeah, so those are 2 comments that people made. Again, I want to thank everybody for making their comments. As I said in a previous episode, what I love about the little audience that we have here on this channel, it's not big, There's not a lot of quantity, but there's a lot of quality. People, there are a lot of knowledgeable people, a lot of really smart people who may be new to City of Heroes, but they're pretty smart, and everybody's been very polite. There's no flaming, there's no calling people names. It's all just very grown up and friendly, and I really appreciate that. Um, that's the kind of community that you want. Um, and I have to say, too, I feel like that's been a large chunk of the community around Homecoming and Rebirth. Ever since City of Heroes came back, there are so many of us, I think, who realized what it was like not to have this game for a decade. And we're just so happy to have it back, even now after 6 years of Homecoming. We're so happy to have this game back that hopefully it puts us all in a little bit better mood than we would have been otherwise, right? So I don't see a lot of like flame wars about powers and power sets when the Homecoming devs make changes. I don't see a lot of griping and complaining. And sometimes they do things that I don't like. For instance, they turned Elude into a toggle, and I didn't like that. Now, what Rebirth did with Elude that I mean, I like, but on the other hand, don't like because I feel like there is a certain tactic to elude, to using elude, and same thing with energize, and knowing when to use it because there will be an endurance crash after a couple minutes, and having to pay attention to that. Um, Rebirth got rid, I believe, Rebirth got rid of the crash. So elude is still a click power, but it no longer crashes your endurance, I think. On Homecoming, I believe, elude is now a toggle, or I might be mixing those up. Maybe elude doesn't, I don't remember now. I'm going to have to go on Silver Phoenix and check it, because she has elude. And somebody made it a toggle, and somebody else got rid of the endurance crash. I prefer the getting rid of the endurance crash to making it a toggle. Or maybe I'm getting that wrong. Maybe it's Practice Brawler that was turned into a toggle on one of the servers. Okay, that was dumb. I over-aggroed. I'm going to have to check. I have Super Reflex characters on both, so I'm going to have to go and check Silver Phoenix and see what they did. So maybe it's a toggle here for Practice Brawler, and I'm not I prefer if they left it a click power, but like it's not like it doesn't bother me to have to fight about it, you know. And after all, if they do something to a power set that I don't like, I could just take another power set that I do like, right? I mean, after all, it just gives me an excuse to level up another character, and why complain about that? It's a cool game, and I like leveling up characters. So yeah, I mean, I'm mostly just happy that it's back, and if they make some changes, whatever. Did you see me? Yeah, I thought so. What I have to remember to do... oh, this guy's got his invincibility running, doesn't he? Usually it shows up here. But I might be able to get him, yeah, with build up. So notice now we're on 55 seconds for energize. And we'll be down to, I think, 45 if we triple slot it, right? No, we are triple slotted. Okay, so we're down to 1 minute. Okay. So that's about as good as we can get with it. But every minute is pretty nice. So yeah, for the most part, I'm just so happy to have... Oh my gosh. Kidnapper and his coven. Is this defeat all, or are we just getting the coven? Let's see. I can come back and get those guys if we need to. Like, I don't mind getting these guys, but the demons are such a pain. I am glad that we are in the level range where we start getting these Earth and Fire Thorn casters. And that does... They do replace some of the Nervous Spectral demons, which is nice. One thing to watch with the guides, and you may see this if they shoot me and they hit me, what you're going to notice is that these numbers drop because their debuff is they debuff your defense. So guides are potentially, if you've got several of them and they're shooting at you while you're trying to fight a demon, they're potentially dangerous. Oh, come on. Now what did I roll? 91? Oh, I only had a 90% chance to hit this guy. Okay. That's because he's +2. Got it. Well, let's do that. Hopefully we hit this time. There we go. So yeah, here, I guess the priority is actually to take the guide out, because if they hit you with their debuffs, then your defense goes down, and we're a defense character, so we don't want that. The earth casters, other than quicksand, can't really do much to you. I will say the Ornbega assets are really cool looking. Okay, we were already in there. We're just gonna leave that alone. That's the sort of thing that's gonna take up a lot of inspirations just to hit. And I'd rather find the kidnapper. And we gotta save the kidnap victim too, right? Oh man, I hope we don't have to lead her out. Let's see what else we got here. This guy's the kidnapper, I think. You're only a lieutenant, lame. So we're probably gonna have to clean this whole room out. And just in case, I may need to wipe that area. Let's see. Can we go? We can't go any other way, so we're gonna have to wipe this area too, just in case we have to lead her out. And we don't want to find out the hard way, right? If I have to lead her out and we're dealing with ambushes while we have to fight those guys, we're going to be completely hosed. So we do have our panic power back up yet. We might need to use that against those guys, just because they're so it's going to be so hard to hit with all of them debuffing me, right? I mean, he's already got me down to 50%, right? And at 50%, it's miss, miss, miss. Can't hit him. Right? It just takes so much longer to get them because of the debuffing. Alright. I'm going to hit him, and then I'm going to... Let's see. Yeah, we'll just do regular. He's just orange. Should be alright. If you can get him fast, you're okay. If you miss one of the early hits, then you're not. Let's see. Do we have anybody else in this room? Yeah, no, those guys, but anybody else? So this is a dead end. And there's an area here. But I don't know that we need to worry about... Yeah, this just circles back around. So I think all we need to do is we're going to have to clean out these guys. This is not going to be an easy fight because of all the debuffing, but we'll clean these guys out so that in case we have to bring her over here and we get caught in ambush, they don't mess us up. So we're going to do the best we can here. We might need our panic power, we'll see. If I can get him fast, we're okay. The problem is if I start missing if you start getting miss streaks against him, then you're dead. Right? Because then the debuff happens and you're screwed. But here, we should be able... see, he's moving around. Trying to get these guys together in a placate. But see, the one guy didn't get in it. Right? So that messes me up. Because he was floating around. Placate does get him off my butt a little bit, so that I can focus on one guy. Come on. Oh, these guys are so annoying. Oh, and then somebody asked, I'll show you after we finish this guy. Somebody asked, where'd the last guy go? Here he is. Somebody asked me, how do I get, so if I put the camera like this and I do a punch, the camera automatically sort of turns and angles directly behind my character. How do I get it to do that? I don't know. It's the default for City of Heroes. I'll show you the options as soon as he comes back, because he'll be back. Because I don't think I defeated him. Alright, well, let's go into the options. He'll be back, but... controls. Right, so... disable free camera movement. I always disable camera shake and stuff. But I think if you disable the free camera movement, it will lock you to behind the head, right? But that also means if you do this on central mouse and you let go, it'll click you back. Right? It goes straight behind. So I guess that's what does it. But that's the only setting I know of that could. The other thing I wanted to show, let's get these guys, let's go outside first. I don't know if they still have it, so I'm going to have to look. But there is a graphical feature that they used to have on Homecoming that I never used, but some people like, and I did want to showcase it. But let's get this one saved and taken care of and lead her out if we need to, and when we get outside we'll look at it. Okay, so we didn't have to do all that, but it's fine. Alright, so we're outside now. Let me pause. I'm going to see if I can find it. And if I can't, I'll just tell you about it and say I can't find it. If I can, I'll show it to you. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we do have it. There's an experimental graphics setting. I normally leave it disabled. But you can enable it. And so let's actually go someplace a little easier to see this rather than down in this pit here. Let's go over here where we can see the city, and we'll see how this goes. I have not used this in 5 years, so we'll see how it goes. But under options, you can turn on the cell shader and apply it, and now it'll reboot it, and now things are cell shaded, and you can see like the hard lines. It makes it look a little more like a comic book, right? You can see it, definitely see it in the distance. Right, now I don't particularly care for this, but some people really like it. We probably also, oh, what is the command to increase the distance, the range, the visual range? Viz scale, is it? Yeah, so you can increase how far out you can see up to a certain point, right? So that's how cell shading looks. I don't know if people like it or not. I tend not to, and I prefer the classic look for City of Heroes. But yeah, it's there as an option if you want, and you do have cell shading. Now I'm going to turn it off because I don't actually like it. But so we'll disable that. And we're back to normal, and we're going to just disable the experimental settings because I have no need for that. But I just wanted to show it because I hadn't mentioned it at all and hadn't shown it at all. And it is there if you want it. Some people like it. Okay, so we're still doing the Library Lost Souls, but I think we've been here for 44 minutes. I think that's probably long enough. So we'll stop at this point. We're about, what, 6 speeds into level 33. Next level is 34, where we'll get more slots. And we'll finish Library of Lost Souls probably next episode. Until then, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been soloing the Stalker on City of Heroes.